Hey, Buff Nation, voice of the bus, Mark Johnson here. Welcome to another Buffalo Stampede at home with Jenny Simpson. Anytime we can talk with Jenny Simpson, we're going to talk with Jenny Simpson. But we want to catch up. Number one, it's been 14 years since you won your first national championship, a steeplechase in the NCAA for the Colorado Buffaloes. We just want to reminisce a little bit about that. I don't want to make anybody feel old, but it has been 14 years. How about that?
You know what? Instead of feeling old, I'll feel like I've endured because I'm still going. I'm still racing, still going, and the action started more than 14 years ago.
You know what? I like that. I'm going to use that myself. I've just endured over the last few decades. What do you remember about that? Your first of three steeplechase championships. Got to take us back to 2006. What do you remember about that race?
The thing that's most forward in my mind about 2006 is I knew even less then than I know now, and I was even, as inexperienced as it gets then. And I think that was a really wonderful year to demonstrate like the joy that I had in the sport and my willingness to just go for it and risk it and see how things turned out. And I think that combined with then the following success has been kind of a thread throughout my entire career that I'm really grateful for.
Was that a great, I would figure you always believed in yourself, but did that validate, hey, I can compete at a very high level?
First of all, it was just fun. I mean, I feel so grateful that I've had several of these experiences, and 2006 Steeplechase Championship is a major one of these where I got to experience this incredible success without the burden of all the expectation that often goes with it. And so it was just a lot of fun. It was fun to go out and win and be kind of the unsuspecting dark horse that came and stole it all. And so that's just kind of my overwhelming sense of what 2006 was. And I've tried to really carry that spirit into my races, even as I have had to kind of shoulder some of that burden. And so I think that's one of the real big reasons why I still really enjoy it, and why, even though competing is really scary, I really have a lot of joy. And I think people see that reflected when I race, because I really try to experience it over and over in the way that I did in 2006. Like, I'm going in this fearless, who knows what's going to happen, and without kind of shouldering all the burden of expectation.
Now, you also won the title in 08 and 09. And I'm not sure I had heard this story until recently about 07. A shoe issue kept you from a four-peat, is that right?
Yeah, it's funny because it's happened 2 times in my career that a final, in a final at a major championships, I had an issue with my shoe, and somebody, just because we're all running so close to one another, somebody clipped the heel of my shoe, and the heel of my shoe just slipped off of my foot. And then you're running really compromised, and especially in the steeplechase, you just can't go over all those water barriers and all those barriers over and over without a shoe on. And so I stopped quickly and tried to put it back on. And I ended up 7th that year, despite the malfunction. But even that setback, in a lot of ways, paid off for me, because we knew I was really fit, we knew I was ready. And since the season kind of ended on a little bit of a sad note, Mark and Heather agreed to let me train for 2 more weeks and go to the U.S. Championships. Where again, I don't think that I was expected to mix it up a ton. And I ended up winning my first U.S. national title in 2007, kind of as a result of the disappointment at NCAA's.
When we think of the Mount Rushmore, it's you're on it. And so I want to ask you, as one of the greats of history, about what we just saw with Danny Jones and her winning an indoor and outdoor championship, a cross-country championship. As you look at this recent Buff, what comes to mind? What do you think of the career that she put together?
Especially with Danny Jones, there's so many great athletes over the careers, but she's someone that I've gotten to know personally, and I've gotten to train with and run with. And so it's different because of the age, but not unlike my relationship with Emma. It's like those two people will always be totally different, and it will stand apart from every other CU legend, because they were teammates of mine, and I got to train with them, and I got to see the peaks and the valleys. And as fans, we often only get to see, those few minutes that they perform on the track. And so it's a great privilege for me, for Danny Jones, that I got to see, all of the grind every day in and day out of her progress towards those successful moments. And so when I think of her, honestly, the first thing that comes to mind is just my friendship with her and how wonderful of a human she is. And then I have to kind of think beyond that to get to her athletic career. And it's a double-edged sword, I think, with Danny's athletic career at CU, because she has had and had just this stellar and beautiful career, and yet we'll never be able to talk about her time at CU without mentioning that it was cut short prematurely. And so it's sad for me to ever reflect on her career and know she ended with 4 national championships like other CU Buffs have in the past, and yet she had an opportunity, or should have had the opportunity, to go on and have at least another indoor and outdoor season with chances to get more titles. So just wonderful human, incredible athlete, and it was just cut too short.
You just segue nicely into something I want to ask you about with the Olympics, because of all the corona mess being postponed a year. Now, we're seeing disruptions in other sports where they compete annually. Olympics comes around one every 4 years. You kind of pace yourself to get ready for that. That's an enormous upheaval from an athletic standpoint for you Olympic athletes, isn't it?
Yeah, the upheaval is really kind of in 2 levels. So on the grander scale, which I think is what most people can relate to, is that, you have this opportunity once every 4 years. You have this 4-year cycle that people is just ingrained, and people kind of know how to work through this 4-year cycle, with the World Championships and with Olympics kind of falling at the same time through these 4-year cycles. Having that upended is a difficult thing, not only for planning, but also for sponsors and for people financially, where some of us are making a living doing this. So that's one part of it that's really hard, and I think that gets a lot of the attention. And then the other layer that's been really difficult is just our day-to-day life. Athletes, especially someone like myself, we're real creatures of routine, and part of why we're so good at what we do and we can execute at the highest level on one particular day is because we're dialed into a routine every single day, and we're really disciplined, and we know how to kind of inch towards being in the best shape of our life. And so to have the brakes suddenly put on, and then the layer on top of it is that there's no certainty of when we're going to get back to quote unquote normal. That daily life disruption, I think, is probably emotionally and mentally the hardest part for athletes right now.
I bet it is, and it's an upheaval for everybody's life. But when you're on that kind of uniform process every single day, it's got to be very tough to kind of fight through. Hey, stay safe, keep running, and whenever you are back in the track, we're going to be cheering for you.
Yeah, thank you. Even the virus, nothing's going to interrupt my return to the track. I'm excited to be out there again. Hopefully a lot of us will join me to cheer.
Yeah, without question. 14 years ago, she won her first national championship for the Colorado Buffaloes in the steeplechase in 2006. Always great to catch up with one of the Buffs greats, Jenny Simpson.